Good afternoon, sir. Sir, please unmute your mic, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You're very much audible, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Thanks for coming, and it's a great honor for us to be with you in this session. And I just want to ensure that, for sir, whether you will be presenting your PowerPoint or you want us to present it.
Okay, I'll share it. I'll share it. If I have any problem, I'll request you to share on your part. I think I'll not face any problem here. I have only to give it a trial. Okay.
If you want to ensure whether it is visible to other people also.
Okay, I'm doing that. I'm just
Full screen share has turned off. Full screen share has turned off.
So this is my PowerPoint slide. I'm sharing it. Just let me know whether you can see it. What is the screen to that?
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible, sir.
My screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Are my slides visible to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is too.
So if I play my slides, this will be like this.
Yes, sir. It will be good, sir.
It will be good. But you can see me.
Yes, sir.
Can you see me? Or you can only see my slides?
Yes, sir.
We could see you, sir.
You could see you, sir, as well as the slides, sir.
Presentation.
Okay. So I'm stopping it, and again I'll share another thing. Will you allow me to share a short video of 5 minutes? Beautiful Bangladesh, land of love.
Sure,
It will help you to understand what we write in our literature.
Sure.
Okay, I'm again doing that, and now it will tell me whether you can see that. It is.
Yes, sir. It's audible, sir. It's very much audible, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think I'm okay. You can see me, you can hear me.
Yes, everything's all right, sir.
Everything is all right. So when will my session begin?
So immediately, sir.
Immediately.
We'll have an introductory part, and then we'll be handing over the session to you, sir.
That's good.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are very happy to meet you all after a short break. I hope all of you are earnestly waiting for the next session to begin. Now, I request Dr. Professor Maria Lenny Jennifer to introduce the guest speaker. Over to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Marialini Chenifa from the Department of English, Sacred College, Tirupattur. I welcome you all for this two-day international web conference on English literature from our frontiers nations. It's my privilege and honor to introduce the resource person of the session, Dr. Mohammed Momin Uddin, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Jagannath University, Dhaka. Sir has 14 years of teaching experience and started his career as a junior lecturer in the Department of English, Northern University, Bangladesh in the year 2005. At present, he works as an assistant professor of English in Jagannath University, Dhaka. He had secured first position in both BA Honours and MA examinations in English language and literature. He has conducted 2 workshops on the title How to Teach and Learning Teaching English, the Role of Teachers. He has published many papers and written articles in magazines on spiritual quest, women in literature, cross-cultural tension, reconstruction of feminist identity, indigenous versus ethnic minority, and a note on letters of John Keats. He has also penned 4 short stories in the daily newspaper of Bangladesh, titled The Bangladesh Observer. People without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots, says Marcus Garvey. Now, it's a time for our resource person to enrich us on the topic Bangladeshi writing in English, its origin, challenges, and journey onwards. Before handing over the session to Dr. Mohammed Momin Uddin, there are a few reminders to the participants. Participants are asked to mute your mic and turn off your camera. The last 15 minutes of each session is meant for discussion. Participants can post your questions in the official WhatsApp group, YouTube, and Google Meet chat. Kindly avoid discussions during the session. Feedback link will be posted at the end of the session, and 15 minutes time will be given to post your feedback. Only a limited number of participants could be accommodated in the Google Meet. Others can attend through YouTube link. Sir, the session is yours.
Professor, could you unmute your mic? Professor Momin Uddin, could you unmute your mic? Sir, we cannot hear you, sir. No, Professor, still we cannot hear you. Your mic is on mute mode. Just click on the mic and unmute yourself, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm very sorry for the problem that I was facing.
Thank you, sir.
So, this is Mominuddin. I'm a professor in the Department of English at Jagannath University. I'm also the chairman of the department here. I have already been introduced to you, so I'm directly going to my speech. I'm the last speaker to speak in this conference. And I'm very happy being the last speaker because the last speaker does not have much to say. Because when the last speaker comes, he says that everything that he wanted to say has been said by others. You have had a very good lecture on Bangladeshi writings in English from Professor Dr. Moniruzzaman Sir, Department of English, Jahangirnagar University, Dhaka, Bangladesh. I heard and saw that he covered almost everything of Bangladeshi English writings. Professor Moniruzzaman Sir introduced me to you. Professor Moniruzzaman Sir is my grand teacher. Grand teacher in that sense that Professor Moniruzzaman Sir's student is my teacher. That means I'm a student of Professor Moniruzzaman Sir's student. In that sense, I'm a that is my grand teacher. So now gaze how much I have been left with to speak on Bangladeshi writings in English after him. Nevertheless, I'll try to give you some idea on Bangladeshi writings in English. Before that, before my speech, I'd like to convey my heartfelt thanks to the authority of Sacred Heart College for inviting me as a speaker in this conference. I'm feeling honored, I'm feeling very happy, and at the same time feeling very fortunate that I have got the opportunity of representing my country before you. Before going to my lecture, I want to share with you a short video of 5 minutes that will help you to understand what we write in our literature. I want to share with you one of my idea about literature. That is, I believe that literature is a reflection of society in an artistic form. And literature is as much history as history itself is. So what are we writing in our literature? We are writing Bangladesh in our literature. We are trying to paint pictures of the culture of the people of Bangladesh. We are trying to paint picture of the emotions, feelings of the people, of the dreams of the people of Bangladesh in our literature. So this short video will help you to understand actually what we write in our literature. So let's enjoy. As it's a 2-hour session, we'll have a lot of time. I think you'll enjoy the video and understand what actually we are writing in our literature. So this is the video.
Glide in the vibe of life. A land of love, let's wander. Embellished with hundreds of streams. Season sings in 6 tunes, dances in 6 rhythms.
It's a bondage of soil and soul. Every day is a celebration with the design of affection. Earth plays here in the heart and mind, holding the golden heritage. Discern the passion of treasure and tradition. Endless endearment in the world's longest sea beach. Step into the ocean of love. Discover the dreamland. Explore the diversity. Hospitality truly inherited. Cosmos of clouds clasping the hills. Unfold the vibration in the folds of the hill tracts. Splendid rhythm, seducing, mesmerizing landscape, melody of mind, devotion of diverse lifestyle. Ethnic taste with ultimate intimacy. Fantasy of flora and fauna deep inside the fascinating forest. Breathe in the beat of history. Lots of ancients have hundreds of stories. Feel the world of color, culture, and concord. Festivals, secret of social harmony. Abundance of happiness round the year. Expression of love everywhere that will bring you back here again and again. Bangladesh, full of love. Anything more? Welcome to beautiful Bangladesh, a land of love.
Thank you very much for watching the video. Am I audible to you? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now I'm sharing my slides. বন্ধ ধরো না সাউন্ড করো Can you see my screen? Slides?
Yes, sir.
You can see.
Slides.
Yes, sir. It is visible. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is visible.
This is my first slide, Bangladeshi writings in English, its origin, challenges, and journey onwards. This is my topic I will speak on.
Sure, sir.
Okay. So you have already seen what Bangladesh is. Again, I want to give you a brief history of Bangladesh. Knowing about Bangladesh is necessary for understanding the emergence of English writings in Bangladesh. Bangladesh is the youngest country in Asia with around 16 crore people living currently. It was born in 1971. So Bangladesh is only 51 years old now. Before 1971, Bangladesh had been a province of Pakistan since 1947. And before 1947, it had been a part of the undivided Bengal of India for hundreds of years. Bangladesh is a riverine, agro-based, monolingual country inhabited by Muslims, Hindus, Christians, Buddhists, and people of other religions and ethnicities who all live together in peace and harmony. It is bordered on three sides by India and on one side by Myanmar. The literacy rate of Bangladesh has moved up to 72.8% in 2022, what was only 18% in 1971 when the country was born. A poor country of 1971, whom Henry Kissinger, the then US Secretary of State, called a bottomless basket, is now a developing country in 2022, a rising economic power in South Asia. A young English writer of Bangladesh has published a collection of short stories titled Good Night, Mr. Henry Kissinger. So we have said good night to Henry Kissinger. Bangladesh is not that Bangladesh that it was 50 years back. This is what we write in our literature, both in Bangla literature and in English literature. We write about the turbulent historical and political changes that Bangladesh went through from 1947. We write about the communal harmony that the people of Bangladesh maintain. People of different religions live together in this country in peace and harmony, showing respect to one another. This is the enriched culture of Bangladesh that we reflect in our literature. Again, before going to my lecture, I want to pay homage to two great persons of Bengal who have introduced Bangladeshi English writings to the world community. One is Sheikh Mujibur Rahman Bangabandhu, the father of Bengali nation, the greatest Bengali of all time. Bangabandhu was the leader under whose leadership the people of Bangladesh got united and made this country independence. Bangabandhu's three books, Ashamapto Atmajiboni, translated title The Unfinished Memoirs, Karagare Rojnamosa, translated title Prison Diaries, and Amardaka Noyachin, translated title New China 1952, have contributed significantly to the internationalization of Bangladeshi English writing. Bangabandhu laid the foundation of independent Bangladesh, and thus he also laid the foundation of the dreams of the people of Bangladesh that they are reflecting in their literature. I show deep respect to this great leader of Bangladesh as well as of the world, I think. The second one whom I want to show respect to is Rabindranath Tagore, the greatest poet of Bangla literature. And I say that Rabindranath Tagore is one of the greatest poets of world literature. Rabindranath Tagore was a bilingual author writing both in Bangla and in English. He wrote many short stories in English and also translated many of his poems. Rabindranath Tagore won Nobel Prize in 1913 for his poems collected in Gitanjali. These poems were translated by Rabindranath Tagore himself. And these poems translated into English by Tagore gave the world an idea of the nature and beauty of Bangladeshi English that we write in Bangladesh. Now, come to the introduction of my lecture, Bangladeshi Writings in English. The first sentence that I want to say is that Bangladesh is also writing in English. Like other South Asian countries and like other third world countries that had been colonies of Britain, Bangladesh is also writing in English. Although, compared to the English writings of India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and other South Asian countries, Bangladeshi writings in English seem inadequate considering the age of Bangladesh as an independent country. I will say its output is quite substantial. Bangladeshi writings in English got its origin even long before the birth of independent Bangladesh, but it went through some unexpected historical and political challenges that impacted negatively on its growth and slowed down its speed. However, surmounting all these obstacles, the youngest South Asian country, Bangladesh, which is only 51 years old now, that I have already said, has emerged today as an English literature writing country, having a considerable number of brilliant writers who are contributing regularly to the enrichment of this field. Origins of Bangladeshi writings in English. Bangladeshi writings in English took its origin around 150 years before the birth of independent Bangladesh, when Bangladesh was a part of the undivided Bengal of India. The first Bengali English writer was perhaps Sheikh Din Mohammed. Sheikh Din Mohammed was perhaps the first Indian to write in English. Sheikh Din Mohammed was a Bengali. He wrote in English in 1794 a travel book titled The Travels of Din Mohammed, a native of Patna in Bengal, through several parts of India, while in the service of the Honorable East India Company. It's a peculiar title. I'm again telling you the title. The title of the travel book was The Travels of Din Mohammed, a native of Patna in Bengal, through several parts of India, while in the service of the Honorable East India Company. This long titled book was written in a series of letters to a friend, an epistolary form commonly followed for travel books at that time. Din Mohammed was followed by Kashi Prasad Ghosh, whose The Shire and Other Poems, written in 1830, was a significant work in English. Mr. Ghosh also wrote literary and historical prose pieces in English for the Literary Gazette and the Calcutta Monthly Magazine. He contributed to these English magazines almost regularly. Then we find Madhusudan Dutt. Madhusudan Dutt in Bangladesh is known as Madhusudan Datto. Perhaps the British could not utter the sound Datto clearly, properly. That's why they wrote Dutt. Actually, this is Madhusudan Datto, a noted 19th century Bengali poet, dramatist, and satirist from the Jashore district of the present Bangladesh. He started his poetic career not in Bangla, but in English. He was greatly influenced by John Keats, William Wordsworth, Lord Byron, and many other poets of English literature, and aspired to be a poet like them. Aspiring to be a poet like them, he started writing poetry in English. But he could not be successful. Although his genius for English writing could not flourish well, he has two books titled Captive Lady and Visions of the Past. Both were published in 1849. These two English books were well received by both the highly educated Indians and the English circles. These two books are considered a milestone in the field of Bangladeshi writings in English. Then we find another female author in Bengal named Toru Datto. Toru Dutt, a short-lived Bengali poetess and translator, caught global attention by writing and translating poetry in English. Her Sheep Gleaned and Friends Field, published in 1876, and Ancient Ballads and Legends of Hindustan, published in 1882, were two widely read and appreciated poetry collections in English. Toru Datto was writing in three languages. She used to write in Bangla, in English, and in French. Imagine, she was born in 1855, and in that time she had the capacity of writing in three languages. Toru Datto was born in a Hindu family in West Bengal, but their family was very greatly influenced by Christian missionaries. So influenced that finally their family was converted to Christians. They left India, went to England. Toru Datto had an opportunity of attending a series of lectures arranged by Oxford University, although at the time women didn't have much access to Oxford University. Toru Datto also had an opportunity of living in France for some time. She learned French language and also started writing in French. So significant a lady author of Bengal she was. Then we find another famous writer of Bengal, that was Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. He was also a bilingual author, although he wrote mostly in Bangla. He also wrote one famous novel, Raj Mohan's Wife, in 1864. That novel, written by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, is a seminal piece of the early Bangladeshi writings in English. Then we see novel laureate Rabindranath Tagore, whom I have already introduced to you, contributed substantially to the enrichment of English writings of Bengal by writing fiction in English and by self-translating many of his Bengali poetry in English. Tagore won Nobel Prize in 1913 for his translated works collected in the Gitanjali. We find another noted female author, born in Rangpur district of present Bangladesh, Begum Rokeya. Begum Rokeya was born in 1880. She was born in a very conservative Muslim family. She didn't have the opportunity of having education from any institutions. She was self-educated by her husband, by her brother. But she had proficiency in English language. She wrote in English a famous novel, I would say, titled Sultana's Dream, a utopian feminist science fiction. It was so influential a fictional piece that it gained readership almost across the world, and it is taught now in many universities of Bangladesh and elsewhere. Currently, in our university, we teach Sultana's Dream. And I have seen the slavery of many universities of Bangladesh where Sultana's Dream is included. Then we find another noted author of Bengal. His name was Niro Chaudhary. Niro Chaudhary was born in Kishoreganj of Bangladesh. He was educated up to class 5 here. Then he left Bangladesh and went to India. He was living there. You know that he was the secretary of Sharad Bose during the time when the people of India were fighting for its independence. Niro Chaudhary was humorously called by the people of India the last British in India. He was called the last British of India because he loved the British very much. Even he loved perhaps Britain and the British more than his own country and the people of his own country. Niro Chaudhary was seen walking on the street of London, on the street of Calcutta, wearing an English hat on his head always, even after the independence of India. And that's why people laughed at him and called him the last British in India. He was a bilingual author, writing in both Bangla and in English. He wrote many pieces in English, of which a passage to England is very famous. He has another famous book of non-fiction titled The Autobiography of an Unknown Indian. It is a highly globally acclaimed narrative of both literary and historical value. Niro Chaudhary had mastery over English language. He could translate his emotions. He could translate his dreams. He could translate the Bengali ethos in English language perfectly and as spontaneously as English people did. His expression in English was so spontaneous that he is believed to have surpassed many British authors. Niro Chaudhary published The Autobiography of an Unknown Indian in 1951, 6 years after the independence of India. This book he dedicated to the memory of the British. This was very challenging because in independent India, he was dedicating a book to the memory of the British. And he wrote in that note that Niro Chaudhary said that he was very unhappy that the British made Indians only subjects but did not make Indians citizens of Britain. Niro Chaudhary also wrote that everything that is in India, everything that is good in India was made and spread by the British. That's why people of India and people of Bangladesh don't like Niro Chaudhary very much. But one thing that we have to admit honestly is that he was one of the first generation English writers of Bangladesh, laying the foundation of Bangladeshi English literature or Indian literature. These writers were the founders of English literature of Bengal. So we see that Bangladeshi or the Bangladeshi English writings, or you can say that the English writings of Bengal or India began with a good beginning. Despite starting with such a bright blaze, the English writings of Bengal could not keep its speed afloat. It faced a number of political, historical, and cultural challenges that slowed down its speed and forced it to turn to a different direction. I'll now talk on the challenges that Bangladeshi writings in English faced in different times. The event that broke the spine of Bangladeshi writings in English was the division of India into India and Pakistan in 1947. Before 1947, this land, which is now known as independent Bangladesh, was a part of the undivided Bengal of India. At that time, its name was East Bengal. But in 1947, when India was divided into Pakistan and India, this east part of the Bengal province of India was made a part of Pakistan, as this part was a Muslim majority part, and the other part of Bengal, which was a Hindu majority part, was kept with India. Thus, we who are known as Bangladeshis today sadly lost a big part of Bengal. And along with that big part of Bengal that we lost in 1947, we also lost Bankim Chandra Chatterjee, Rabindranath Tagore, Toru Dutt, Kashi Prasad Ghosh, Niro Chandra Chaudhary, and many others who were the first generation English writers of Bengal, who were the founders of English writings of Bengal, or Bangladesh, we can say. Another invisible challenge that the Bangladeshi writings in English silently faced was the reluctance of the Muslims to learn English language. The Muslims of India were reluctant towards the beginning to learn English language because they thought English was the language of Christians. Learning English, they felt, was a sin. Although later they changed their mentality and started learning English when they found that they were lagging behind the Hindu polity of India in both education and government jobs. Thus, the number of Muslims knowing good English was fewer than that of Hindus in the East Bengal. Another catastrophic thing was that when in 1947, the East Bengal, where majority of the people are Muslims, that have already said, when this East Bengal was made a part of Pakistan, most of the highly educated Hindus left the East Bengal and settled in the West Bengal that remained a part of India. As a result, the East Bengal, which became an independent country in 1971, had very few people who know English enough to write literature in English. Another event that slowed down the speed of English writings of Bangladesh was the language movement in 1952. Perhaps you know, perhaps you have heard, 21st February of 1952. You know, since 1947, when East Bengal, later East Pakistan, became a province of Pakistan, Pakistan had been trying to impose its Urdu language over the Bengali-speaking people of East Pakistan, which has become Bangladesh now. The people of East Pakistan, whose mother tongue was Bangla, resisted this move of Pakistan. Finally, this belligerent move of Pakistan culminated into a tragic event, killing many Bengalis. Bengalis are perhaps the only nation in the world who sacrificed many of their lives to save their mother tongue. As Bengalis shedded their blood for protecting their mother tongue, they could not decide to write in English, being disrespectful to the language martyrs of 1952. Subsequently, this event, that is the language movement of 1952, generated the feeling of Bengali nationalism, a nationalistic feeling that led Bengalis to fighting against Pakistan for independence. In 1971, the East Pakistan emerged as an independent country called Bangladesh. As Bangla language was the major issue of conflict between Bangladesh and Pakistan, after independence, Bangladesh politically decided to use Bangla in all spheres of life. While before the independence of Bangladesh, English was taught. Before the independence of Bangladesh, that means before 1971, English was taught as a compulsory subject from class 6 to 12 and was the medium of instruction at the tertiary level. After the independence of the country, the use of English was reduced greatly, making Bangla the medium of instruction at all levels of education. After the independence of Bangladesh, an education commission was formed in 1974. The Education Commission of Independent Bangladesh, formed in 1974, made some points clear. I am quoting two clauses from that report made by the first Education Commission of Bangladesh, Independent Bangladesh. Clause number 1, quote, instruction through the medium of the national language is more readily intelligible to the peoples, as it helps them develop more easily their national intelligence, their original thinking, and their imagination. In addition, books written in the national language help spread knowledge among the common people outside the classroom. The importance of the national language in every education system is very great, and the main aim of education is to spread knowledge, to broaden cultural awareness, and to create national cohesion. We must therefore use Bengali as the medium of instruction at all levels of education to make our educational schemes successful, unquote. Clause number 2 of this of the report of this Education Commission was, quote, Bengali must be used as a compulsory language up to class 12. Textbooks written at the higher stages of education, especially in the fields of science and technical, professional, and vocational education, must be written in Bengali and must be translated from foreign languages at government expenditure. It is also necessary to improve the method of teaching Bengali, unquote. Does the state itself politically discouraged its people to learn English language and reduced its use in the country? Such recommendations of the 1974 Education Commission of Independent Bangladesh were thanks to the strong nationalistic feelings of Bengalis in favor of Bangla, as it had been the prime factor in the events that led to the independence of the country in 1971. Another issue that put us behind the scene is that Bangladesh is a monolingual country. However, we are happy that Bangladesh is a monolingual country, but this status of Bangladesh, linguistic status of Bangladesh, to some extent pushed us behind the scene. That means reduced Bangladeshi writings in English. Because you know that Bangladesh is a monolingual country. Bangla is the language of all the people of Bangladesh. Therefore, we do not feel the urge of learning English. If we don't learn English, if we don't know English, we are not facing any problem inside our country. But look at India. In India, English is not a foreign language as it is in Bangladesh. India is a multilingual country. India is a big country having 21 states. So if an educated man of India does not learn English, he will face problem of communication in other parts of India. That means he will face problem even inside his own country. if he does not know the common language of this country. So English has become the international language of India. Therefore, people in India are feeling the urge of learning English. Look at R.K. Narayan. If we talk about R.K. Narayan, who is an author of your area, R.K. Narayan was born and brought up. R.K. Narayan, one of the most famous Indian English authors. He was born and brought up in a family where all members used to speak English. He has said in his autobiography, My Days. He was educated in such educational institutes where medium of instruction was English. R.K. Narayan was growing up in a society where he found people around speaking English. That means English was his first language. He grew up in English environment. Therefore, it didn't occur to him that English was a foreign language. R.K. Narayan could translate his emotions, his dreams, his feelings, Indian ethos in English language spontaneously, very much like the English people. He was not facing any problem. Once an interviewer, while taking interview of R.K. Narayan, asked him why he wrote in the other language, that means in the language of the other. R.K. Narayan said that it didn't occur to him that he was writing in the language of the other, because he was born and brought up in a family where everybody speaks in English. He was educated in such institutes where English was the medium of instruction. He was keeping company with people always who were speaking English. So English was very much like his mother tongue. In his essay, 15 years, published in a writerly nightmare, okay, he has written that there is a quarrel. This is a very humorous essay. There is a quarrel between English language and Indian jazz. The Indian jazz is asking English language to leave India and go back to its own country. The English language in the court is asking the jazz, how many years are you old? The judge is saying that I'm 50 years old. And the English language is saying that I am living in India for almost 200 years. So, R.K. Narayan said in that essay that English, having been living in India for 200 years, become very much like a devotee of goddess Saraswati. While English has become very much like a devotee of goddess Saraswati, English in Bangladesh is a foreign language. We learn English by learning its grammatical rules. And that's why we cannot express ourselves in English in the way R.K. Narayan could. And that's why R.K. Narayan becomes so great a writer in English. If you talk about Nayanthara Sahgal of India, she was born and brought up in an environment where she had the opportunity of speaking English always. In fact, you can call that English was her first language. Other great writers of India, Indian writers of India, had this kind of facility. But in Bangladesh, we didn't have that kind of facility, only because that Bangladesh is a monolingual country. We do not need to learn English in the way people of India need to learn English, or in the way the people of Pakistan. Pakistan is also a monolingual country. Okay, that's why it has been possible for India and Pakistan to have so many great English writers. Another reason that has slowed down the Bangladeshi writings in English is limited publication facilities. In Bangladesh, we don't find many publication facilities for publishing English books. The publications houses that we have in Bangladesh do not show eagerness to publish English books because they don't get much readership in this country. And that's why they don't want to take the risk of publishing English books. The authors that we will see, who are the first generation author of independent Bangladesh, most of them publish their books at their own cost. It's very difficult for an author to publish his books at his own cost. But many of the authors had to do that because the publishers didn't take the risk of publishing English books because they would not be able to sell English books in this country as many copies as they can sell Bengali books. So this is another reason that slowed down or that has become a kind of barrier for Bangladeshi writings in English. So now, but still we are writing. Despite these problems, challenges that we have faced, we are writing. So now I'll talk on how we are going forward with our English writings. The journey of Bangladeshi writings in English began in the true sense of what the term implies from 1971. I have already said that Bangladesh became an independent country in 1971. So if we want to say that we have English literature, then we have to begin from here. Okay, we have to consider that our literature, English literature, began from 1971. Although our English writings stood on the foundation laid down much earlier by the first generation English writers of the undivided Bengal. Thanks to the historical and political challenges, as I've already stated, Bangladeshi writings in English became slow in its speed to move forward and lagged much behind its neighboring countries, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and other South Asian countries. From 1971 till 1990, Bangladesh had only a few poets writing in English. Look at the time. It was a span of 20 years. But during this time, we had only few poets writing in English. It is not difficult for anyone knowing about the turbulent historical and political changes that Bangladesh went through from 1947 to 1971 to understand why Bangladesh could not produce as much English writing as its other South Asian counterparts did. Since the country was created out of a language movement, creative writing in English was not very popular during this time. People of Bangladesh didn't dare encyclogically to write things in English because for Bangla, the people of this country sacrificed their lives in 1952. Many heroic sons of Bangladesh came out on the street chanting, Bangla has to be the state language of Bangladesh, and they were killed. So we shedded blood for protecting our mother tongue, and in that country, if we write in English, it will be disgraceful to the memory of the language martyrs. That is why people perhaps felt hesitant towards the beginning to write in English. This feeling of hesitation worked behind our lagging behind South Asian counterparts. Fakhrul Alam, a veteran professor of English department at the University of Dhaka and a world-class translator and critic of literature, has pointed out in his essay, The Streets of Dhaka, that, quote, it was rather difficult for aspiring creative writers to ward off the nationalist sentiment and start writing in English just after the independence of Bangladesh. This trend continued through the 1980s and the early 1990s. Nevertheless, Bangladesh didn't give a walkover. It tried to keep on working, holding the hands of the few writers who were writing sporadically here and there. And today, it has reached a level. Bangladeshi writings in English have reached a level today that makes us hopeful that soon we are going to have a space to feel proud of in the area of South Asian English literature. Bangladeshi writings in English, the first English writers of independent Bangladesh, okay, that means the English writers of independent Bangladesh can by and large be divided into two generations. First generation of writers constitute those who started publishing in English before 2000, and the second generation of writers constitute those who started writing after 2000. Most of the English writers of the first generation who started either before 1971 or after 1971 are still alive and writing, while the writers of the second generation are young or middle-aged who started writing after 2000. Bangladeshi writings, the first generation of Bangladeshi writers in English includes the following: Rajya Kanamin, Farida Mujib, Kaisar Haq, Niyat Jaman, Said Manjurul Islam. There are some others who wrote few books in English, but I'll not talk on them. I'll just discuss the major ones here. Rajya Kanamin, she was a faculty member of the Department of English at Dhaka University. Rajya Kanamin was a bilingual writer, writing with equal ease in both Bangla and English. She was the first English writer of independent Bangladesh. Her two books of poetry titled Argus Under Anesthesia and Cruel April set in the journey of Bangladeshi English literature. However, in this space, I want to mention another name, that was Syed Oliullah. You might have heard the name of this great author of Bangladesh. Syed Oliullah was also a bilingual author. He was writing in Bangla and in English also. Syed Oliullah died in 1971 before Bangladesh became independent. He died in Paris. He was working there. Syed Oliullah, as Syed Oliullah died before Bangladesh became independent, I'm not saying that he was the first writer of independent Bangladesh, but he was a significant writer. Pakistani English writing feels proud of Syed Oliullah, that Syed Oliullah was a Pakistani English writer. Because you know that before 1971, Bangladesh was a part of Pakistan. So the writers who were writing here before 1971 are considered Pakistani English writers. Syed Oliullah was one of them. Syed Oliullah wrote one famous novel in English titled The Ugly Asian. That book was published almost 40 years later after his death in 2013 by Bangla Academy of Bangladesh. We also had some other writers before 1971 who contributed to the enrichment of Pakistani English writing. For example, Ali Ashraf, so Sajjad Hussain, they were writing before 1971 and they are considered Pakistani English writers. However, as they were writing before the independence of Bangladesh, that's why I'm not bringing them here. I will say that after the independence of Bangladesh, Rajya Kanamin was the first author, and the first English author of Bangladesh was fortunately a woman. We feel proud of Rajya Kanamin that we began with a lady writing in English. We got another famous woman who initiated Bangladeshi writings in English. She was Farida Mujib. Farida Mujib was a distinguished poet and translator. She lived most of her life in the USA and taught Bangla language and literature in different colleges and universities there from 1984 to 2006. While staying abroad, she translated many famous contemporary Bengali poems in English. Her Take Me Home Rickshaw, published in 1974, is a collection of poems by contemporary Bangladeshi poets translated into English. She also edited an anthology of English poems titled Thursday Evening Anthology, published in 1977. The third English writer of independent Bangladesh, a notable English writer of Bangladesh, independent Bangladesh, was Niyat Jaman. Niyat Jaman is still alive. We feel proud of her. Niyat Jaman is a supernumerary professor of English literature at the University of Dhaka. Niyat Jaman writes mostly in English. She writes both fictional and non-fictional pieces. The volumes of her writing, English writings, are quite substantial. I just want to mention some of the writings that Niyat Jaman has written in English. She has written both fictional and non-fictional pieces, I've already said. Creative writings of Niyat Jaman constitute The Crooked Neem Tree, The Dance and Other Stories, Didima's Necklace and Other Stories, The Daily Oman. She has non-fictional pieces which constitute The Confessional Art of Tennessee Williams, The Art of Katha Embroidery. Niyat Jaman is a specialist of Nokshi-Katha, okay? And History of the Family of Sheikh Gul Muhammad is a kind of her autobiography written in English. A Divided Legacy, The Partition in Selected Novels of India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. Niyat Jaman has also edited several anthologies in English, which include the following: Selected Stories from Bangladesh, 1971 and after, The Escape and Other Stories, Under the Krishna Chora, From the Delta, and New Age Short Stories. Niyat Jaman is also a good translator. She translated Sayyid Oliullah's widely acclaimed Bengali novel Lal Chalu. The translated title of that Lal Chalu was A Tree Without Roots. The translation of Lal Chalu is as widely read and as famous as the Bengali novel was and is. A Tree Without Roots, translated by Niyat Jaman, is taught in many universities, is read by Bangladeshi communities who are living abroad, and it has also foreign readership. Then we get another noted, and I'm saying that this is the most leading English language writer of Bangladesh. We're happy that this man is still writing in English. Kaisar Haq, another retired professor of English literature from the Department of English, is a globally acclaimed and the most leading English language poet of Bangladesh. Kaisar Haq writes both fictional and non-fictional pieces. He's a short story writer and he is a poet. However, to the people of the world, Kaisar Haq is known and popular as a poet. His poetic output is quite enormous, having 7 collections of poetry. The books he has written: A Little Ado, published in 1978, Starting Lines, published in 1978, A Happy Farewell, published in 1994, Black Orchid, published in 1996, The Logopathic Reviewer's Song and Other Praise, published in 2012, published in the Streets of Dhaka, published in 2007, Paria and Other Poems, published in 2013. Kaisar Haq, a post-colonial writer, has drawn different beautiful pictures of the enriched culture and nature of Bangladesh in his poetry with his powerful imaginative mind and artistic precision. Kaisar Haq also writes proses and translates into English. He has many prose literary pieces in English, and he has also translated many books in English. Then we will talk of another legend of Bangladesh, Said Manjurul Islam. Said Manjurul Islam is also a retired professor of English literature from the University of Dhaka. Said Manjurul Islam is a reputed bilingual writer of Bangladesh. Although he writes mostly in Bangla, Manjurul Islam writes mostly in Bangla, he also occasionally writes in English. He has translated many of his short stories into English. His The Merman's Prayer and Other Stories, published in 2012, is a collection of many of his short stories in English translation, and these stories have been translated by him. That means he has written the stories first in Bangla, then he has written those stories in English. If you read his English stories, you will feel the same taste that you will feel when you are reading the same stories in Bangla. Said Manjur Islam, by publishing this book of short stories, has introduced Bangladeshi writing to the world community and has given a new dimension to our literature. So these were the first generation writers of independent Bangladesh. There are some others who have written one or two books. There are some others who published short stories occasionally in different English dailies in Bangladesh. I have not brought them here. Bangladeshi writing, I'll talk of now the second generation English writers of Bangladeshi English literature. Bangladeshi English literature witnessed a great thriving from the mid-1990s when the second generation of writers started writing in English. There are two reasons for the success of Bangladesh. One was the expansion of scopes of learning English, and the other was the contribution of Bangladeshi diaspora writers. From the 1990s, Bangladesh started coming out of the psychological barrier against writing in English, a mentality that the people of Bangladesh had developed after 1952 and 1971. I've already said why Bangladeshi people developed that psychological barrier or felt hesitant or reluctant to write in English after 1952 and 1971. But 20 years later, the people of Bangladesh started coming out of that psychological barrier against writing in English. The government now gave mass emphasis on English learning, making it compulsory at all levels of education. The people of the country also started investing their personal money for learning English, as they understood that English is no longer the patrimony of the British people, but a global lingua franca that everybody should learn to be connected with the rest of the world. The number of English medium schools, which were once the hubs of only elite family children, increased, offering opportunities to middle-class families. Apart from that, the government established English version schools for the expansion of English language learning opportunities. Thus, English today has become to the new generation very much like their mother tongue, in which they can comfortably express their emotions. Today, in Bangladesh, although Bangladesh is a monolingual country that I have said, and I have said that I'm proud that Bangladesh is a monolingual country, today English learning scopes have so expanded and have been given so emphasis on that people have understood that along with learning the mother tongue, we have to learn the common language of the world. English is today the people of Bangladesh have realized that English is not the language of the foreigners. English is not the language of only the people of Britain. English is today everybody's language. English is now a global lingua franca. Almost 20% international communications today are done in English. Okay, we see, and that's why today Bangladesh is learning English. Today, even an SSC passed boy or girl anywhere in Bangladesh is able to communicate himself or herself in English comfortably. Another issue that has contributed to the thriving of Bangladeshi writing in English is that many families are sending their children abroad for education. These educated people can communicate in English as comfortably as they do in their mother tongue. This is why the number of English writers is increasing. After 2000, Bangladesh has got a considerable number of writers writing in English. I'll just introduce to you some of those writers who have earned reputation here. Keanus Ahmed, a Dhaka-based writer, has earned a lot of reputation as a fictionist. He started his writing career with short fiction. Starting with short fiction, he has published some books to wide acclaim now. His debut, The World in My Hands, is a widely appreciated novel. His short story collection, Good Night, Mr. Kissinger, I talked of this collection of short story when I was introducing Bangladesh to you. I was giving a brief history of Bangladesh. Mr. Kissinger, during a liberation war, you know Mr. Kissinger, he was the Secretary General of U.S. Secretary General of State. He said, called Bangladesh a bottomless basket in 1971 during a liberation war. Today, Bangladesh is not a bottomless basket. Bangladesh is a rising economic power in South Asia. And that's why this writer has written a collection of short stories saying goodbye, good night, Mr. Henry Kissinger. His Good Night, Mr. Henry Kissinger and Other Stories is also highly appreciated both home and abroad. His first novel of 4 Steps was nominated for the Pushkar Prize. Saad Hussain is another noted young English writer of Bangladesh. His Dizin City and Escape from Baghdad are widely appreciated among the fiction lovers of Bangladesh. Another Dhaka-based young English writer is Samir Asran Rahman, whose Jack and Jara, a monster murder mystery, is a popular young adult fantasy novel. Mr. Rahman also writes comic books in English. So now try to understand the level that we have reached. We can today write jokes in English. We can write comics in English. Samir has written 3 comic books in English. Lathial, The Legend of Jui, and Captain Kathal, and Molom Party. These 3 books are also equally popular among young readers. The major contribution to Bangladeshi English literature has come from the writers of Bangladeshi diaspora. Some of the most famous Bangladeshi diaspora writers are Adib Khan. I think you have heard his name from the lecture given by Moniruzzaman Sir. He has introduced Adib Khan to you, and everybody will introduce Adib Khan to you because this Australian Bangladeshi writer has earned name and fame across the world as a novelist. He won Commonwealth Writers' Prize. He has so far 5 novels to his credit. All of these novels are internationally acclaimed. He got the Commonwealth Prize for his first novel, Seasonal Adjustments. He got the Commonwealth Prize in 1995. The second famous diaspora writer of Bangladesh is Tamima Aram, a Bangladeshi-born British writer. Tamima Aram has put a significant contribution to the Bangladeshi English literature. She has so far 4 novels to her credit, which are A Golden Age, published in 2007, The Good Muslim, 2011, The Bones of Space, published in 2016, and The Startup Wife, published in 2021. There are also a host of Bangladeshi diaspora writers who produced a significant body of work in the early and late 2000s. Bangladeshi-born Rekha Wide looks into the dilemmas faced by modern Asian women in Britain in her A to Z Guide to Arranged Marriage, published in 2005, and Sharis and the City, published in 2005. Look at the title of these two books, The A to Z Guide to Arranged Marriage and Sharis and the City, 2005. These two titles of the books tell us that she was living abroad, but she was connected to Bangladesh and to other South Asian countries. She has talked of the problems that modern Asian women are facing in Britain in her novels. Kia Abdullah, another Bangladeshi-born British writer, explores the pains and problems of living between two cultures in her novel Love, Life and Assimilation. Swedish Bangladeshi diaspora author Dilruba Jedara has portrayed a young girl's struggle against the superstitions and constraints of a rural society in her A List of Offenses, published in 2007. Bangladeshi-born British writer Monica Ali, I should have mentioned her name first, however, I have brought her here. Bangladeshi-born British writer Monica Ali portrayed the immigrant issues of East London through the eyes of two Bangladeshi sisters in her debut novel Brick Lane. However, Monica Ali has some other books to her credit, but I have not read them, and so I don't know what she has written there. However, Bangladeshi-born British novelist Jia Haidar Rahman published his debut novel In the Light of What We Know. Jia Haidar is a young writer. His first novel is published in 2012, and this book has been widely praised. Some other works of other young diaspora writers are Sanchita Islam's Gangi Blues, published in 2008, Mahamudur Rahman's Clean the Water, published in 2010, Manjur Islam's Song of Our Some Plant. It has another title, People Tree. People Tree. In Bangla we call Pepul Tree. Niamot Imam's The Black Coat, published in 2013. Ghalib Islam's Fire in the Unnameable Country, published in 2014. Tanwi Nandini Islam's Bright Lines, published in 2015. Shazia Umur's Dark Diamond, published in 2016. Arif Anwar's The Storm. Nadim Jaman's In the Time of the Others, and Chaudhary J. Ahmed's Just Under Our Feet, and Numayr Chaudhary's Babu Bangladesh have expanded the canvas of the Bangladeshi English literature. There are still more than a score of diaspora writers who have enriched the Bangladeshi English literature. They are writing, contributing to the enrichment of Bangladeshi English literature continuously. More and more writers are coming each year. Besides, there are translators who are translating into English classics of Bangla literature. Okay, these translators, Bangladesh actually is giving more emphasis on translating our Bangla literature into English. You know that a man can write well in his mother tongue. A man can reflect the beauty of his culture, the emotions of the people of his culture, reflect the dreams of the people of his culture better in his mother tongue. We, the people of Bangladesh, are writing beautiful pieces of Bangla literature. And if we can translate them into English, then the world will understand. The world will see the beauty of the culture of the people of Bangladesh. And that's where giving more emphasis on translating Bengali literature, famous literary pieces into English. We have some good translators. Okay, today Jivananda Das, you might have heard the name of Jivananda Das. Okay, he was writing between 1971 and 1947. Jivananda Das finally went to India, leaving Bangladesh after the partition. We cannot think of our life without Jivananda Das. We read his poetry. Many of his poems have been translated into English by Fakhrul Alam, whose name I've already mentioned, a veteran professor of English literature of Dhaka University and a world-class translator. If you read his translations of Jivananda Das's poems, you will see that I feel the poems translated in English have become more beautiful than the poems are in the original language. Jivananda Das, Nazrul Islam, Akhtaruzzaman Ilyas, Said Aliullah, Mir Musharraf Hussain are now in the hands of international leaders in English translations done by world-class translators of Bangladesh. What is inspiring the homegrown new English writers is the emergence of new publishing houses and launching of new literary magazines in Dhaka. Just 10 years back, we didn't have, I've already said that we are slow to move forward because of the limited publication facilities. But the situation is gradually improving. After 2010, today we have many more English dailies which are publishing English literature, literary pieces. For example, we have a Daily Star. Daily Star is an old paper, but in the past we didn't have other good English dailies except Daily Star. But today in Bangladesh we have Niro, Dhaka Tribune, Daily Sun, the Financial Express, and many other newspapers who are regularly publishing English writings in their newspapers, and thus they are promoting the English writers of Bangladesh. As in the past we didn't have these facilities, we couldn't publish English writings. Again, we didn't have institutionalized publishing houses that would publish our English writings. But now we have some publishing houses that are publishing mainly English books. For example, Bengal Lights Books, in short called BLB. It was established in 2011. It is publishing English books. So far, it has published a significant number of short story collections and novels by both homegrown and diaspora writers. Some of the publications of Bengal Light Books include 40 Steps by Keanus Ahmed, Truth or Dare by Nadia Kubir Barf, The Lovers and Leavers by Abir Y. Hawk, Jack and Jara by Samir Astan Rahman. Samir Astan Rahman is a very popular writer among the young generation. The Book of Dhaka, a city in short fiction edited by Orunava Sinha and Pushpita Alam. The Bard Catcher and Other Stories by Faiza Hasanat, and Iqtishad Ahmed's Debate short story collections, and there are many more books that have been published by Bengal Lights Books. We have a publishing house established by the famous English daily of Bangladesh, titled The Daily Star. The Daily Star has established a publishing house called Star Books. Star Books is publishing mainly English writings of both homegrown writers and diaspora writers. Daily Star, or the Star Book, is actually established by Mahfuz Anam, father of Tamima Aram, whose name I've already mentioned. She is a Bangladeshi-born British author. She has written so far 4 novels. She is a very powerful diaspora writer of Bangladesh. So Daily Star's book house, Star Books, is also publishing mainly English books. So we have now facilities to get our English books published. Then we have Pathak Samavesh. Okay, Pathak Samavesh in the past was publishing only Bangla books, but recently we see that Pathak Samavesh is also publishing English books. So it has come forward to publish English books. Then we have UPL, University Publications Limited, UPL. It's a publications house of international reputation. It is also publishing books in English. And there are some other publishing houses which have come forward to promote English writers of Bangladesh, and they're publishing regularly English books. You might have heard the name of this literary festival that is held in Bangladesh every year in November, Dhaka Lit Fest. Okay, Dhaka Lit Fest is a 3-day-long international literary festival held every November in the premises of Bangla Academy in Dhaka since 2012. So since 2012, we see this international literary festival held in Dhaka, drawing writers from across the world. This Lit Fest has been inspiring Bangladeshi young writers to write in English, and at the same time inspiring publishers to publish books in English. Because during the Lit Fest, thousands of people from across the country come to this literary festival. They hear lectures directly from the acclaimed writers of different countries. They buy books. That means this Dhaka Lit Fest has offered a kind of platform to both authors and publishers. It has created a kind of market of books in Bangladesh. I say that in the past, publishing houses were not publishing books because they didn't want to take the risk of losing their money, because they had a conviction that they would not get as many buyers of their books as they get when they're publishing Bangla books. But today they are daring to publish English books because we have a book festival here every year held in November since 2012. So people not only from our different parts of our country, and people from other parts of the world are also coming to this Lit Fest. So it becomes a fair of books, like Ekushe Book Fair of Bangladesh. This Lit Fest is playing a significant role, is putting a significant contribution to the expansion of Bangladeshi writings in English. I want to wrap up. I've come to the end of my lecture. I want to say finally that we hope for a better future of Bangladeshi writings in English. Okay. When our young writers will grow up, young writers who are now writing after 2000, okay, when who are writing after 2010, they are young writers. When these young writers will grow up, with them our English literature will also grow up, will grow mature, and will occupy a significant space in the area of South Asian English literature. Okay, within 51 years, we have come to this level. Bangladesh, I've already said, it is a young country. It is not as old as India. It is not as old as Sri Lanka. We are just 51 years old. Within this, and we lost a lot, I have already said. If we had not lost Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, if we had not lost Niro Chandra Chaudhary, if we had not lost Rabindranath Tagore, if we had not lost Toru Datta, if we had not lost Kashi Prasad Ghosh, we would have been richer today than what we are now. If we had been as old as India is, and if we had as many states as India has, you couldn't imagine the level at which our Bangladeshi English writings would stay. However, we're very happy that we have come to this level. We are not lamenting that we have lagged behind the other South Asian countries. We are happy, however, that we love our Bangla language. We don't want that, leaving Bangla language aside, our people would write in English. We don't want that our writers would stop writing in Bangla and would contribute to the enrichment and development of English writings of Bangladesh. We want that our writers would write in Bangla and would also write in English. It would be really disgraceful to the memory of the language martyrs of 1952 if we think of writing only in English. We'll write in English, no doubt, but we also want to write in Bangla. Bangla literature is a beautiful literature. We have beautiful pieces. Rabindranath Tagore is ours. Rabindranath Tagore is also India's. Rabindranath Tagore, his song is our national anthem. His song is also the national anthem of India. When we have Rabindranath Tagore in Bangla language, we should not lament, whether we feel proud. However, I believe that the way English learning is encouraged today in Bangladesh, within short time, we'll have many more writers, and Bangladeshi writings in English will be on par with that of any South Asian country down the road. So thank you very much for your kind patience. Thank you very much once again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It was an interesting and lively presentation, sir. You had taken us to the land of Bangladesh and traced the origin of Bangladesh literature and its journey in detailed manner. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sir, there are a few questions from the participants. Shall I read it one by one?
Yes, I welcome all of you.
Okay. Sir, number one, can you suggest new research areas in Bangladesh literature?
Bangladesh literature means Bangladeshi English writings or in Bangla literature?
Bangladesh writings in English.
Yes, we have researchers in Bangladesh who are doing research in Bangladeshi writings in English. As we have seen that, I have already said that our corpus is not as rich as yours or as that of other South Asian countries. But in our universities today, in almost all universities, in the English department, we have included Bangladeshi writings, pieces of Bangladeshi writings. Our students are doing research there. They are exploring different features of Bangladeshi writings. In all universities of Bangladesh, especially in the departments of English, you will see that we are doing research in. We are trying to find out why we have lagged behind. We are trying to find out many other reasons that have pushed us behind, that I have already said. And finding out all these things, I think, will help us to understand our position, and we will go forward. in future, inshallah.
Okay, sir. So second one, what are the scopes for literature students in Bangladesh?
Yes, there are scopes for the students of literature in Bangladesh. Okay, we are teaching our students not only English language, we are also teaching our students how to write. Graduating from English department, our students are learning how to appreciate literary pieces and how to write literary pieces. Many of our students are now coming out and they are writing. Okay, I believe that one day our young students, when they will grow up, they will contribute significantly to these corpus of Bangladeshi writings in English. There is scopes here.
Okay, sir. So third one, sir, since you have written short stories, can you suggest few guidelines to the participants to enhance their creative writing skill?
The first thing that I want to say, actually I am not a writer, okay? I just teach my students the mechanisms of writing. I have written some pieces that have been published in different daily newspapers here. What I do is that I actually, sometimes I sit to write, but I cannot write. The story comes to me. When a story comes to me, I become successful in writing a story. Okay, this is one thing. You cannot force yourself to write a story. When you will write, you will see that stories are visiting you. Characters are coming to you and telling you that you need to do something. Yes, I think so. And when you will write, why will you write? What is the necessity that you have to write a story? Obviously, you have to have a purpose why you are writing. I'm writing to tell the society something. When I have a message to communicate to the people of the society, I write. Until I have a purpose, until I have a message to tell the people, I do not write. There are many people who are writing only for becoming writers. You will see they are becoming writers to earn money. They are writing only to become famous authors. They don't have any purpose. They don't have any social message to communicate to the people of society. They cannot contribute to the development of the society. They cannot give any directions to the people of the society. Through literature, we have to give directions to the people. We have to guide people. We have to advise people to go forward in the right direction. When you have such a purpose, when you have such a message to give people, you will sit down to write things.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Sir, what is your view on women's writing in Bangladeshi literature?
Sorry?
Women's writing in Bangladeshi literature.
We have many female authors. I have already said that we are proud that our true Bangladeshi English writings began with 3 women, Rajya Kanamin, then Niyab Jaman, Farida Mujib. They laid the foundation of the Bangladeshi, of the English writings of independent Bangladesh. Then another female author I have mentioned, that is Rokia Shakaut Hussain. She was writing before the independence of Bangladesh. She was a famous author. Her Sultana's Dream is taught in Bangladesh. And again, I have mentioned many young female authors of Bangladesh. For example, Monica Ali, her Brick Lane is a widely acclaimed author. Then Tamima Aram, she is a young female author. She has already 4 novels to her credit. I've also mentioned here the names of many female authors. I think the number of female authors in Bangladesh is more than the number of male authors. So our women are going forward, and we are very happy that we are getting many young women writers. They will one day become like your Anita Desai, like Bharati Mukherjee, like Jhumpa Lahari, like Nayandara Sagal. One day we are going to be like them. Our girls are coming forward.
Okay, sir. Thank you. And another one question, sir. What are the contemporary themes and theories that exist in Bangladeshi literature?
Most of our writers are writing Bangladesh in their literature. Okay, they are writing Bangladesh. Bangladesh means the beautiful picture of Bangladesh, the beautiful culture of Bangladesh, the dreams of the people of Bangladesh. They are reflecting in their literary pieces. Diaspora writers, for example, Tamima Aram, the first debate, the golden age, she has talked about the liberation war of Bangladesh in her novel. Adib Khan, who is writing from Australia, is also trying to sketch the map of Bangladesh. Okay, that is how this post-war generation, post-independence generation, were writing in different countries. We didn't see Bangladesh, but they are trying to understand Bangladesh in their own ways. So these things are coming to be reflected in our Bangladeshi literature. The pains, initially in the first short stories written by Rajya Kanamin, then even in the writings of Kaiser, in the poems of Kaiser Haq, who is a professor of the English department of Dhaka University, we'll see the beautiful pictures of the culture of Bangladesh. Even he has a famous poem, Ode to Lungi. I think you know what Lungi is. Okay, men put on that, Lungi. A man can write about Lungi. He is talking of all these things. These are the issues of, these are the materials of our literature in Bangladesh.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Sir, there's a question from one of our speakers, Professor Amir Aziz. He has a question. What is the significance of Bengali nationalism in Bangladeshi English writing in modern times when the world at large is wary of the return of chauvinist and jingoistic nationalism in Europe, India, and the United States?
So what is the second part of your question? Jingoism, sorry?
Jingoistic nationalism in Europe, India, and the United States.
However, Bengali nationalism, I told you that we had a feeling in the past, okay? We had a feeling in the past as Bangla language, okay, was the issue of conflict between Bangladesh and Pakistan as we fought for saving our language, protecting our language. And this language movement of 1952, okay, created this Bengali nationalism that led us for fighting against Pakistan. We became independent on the basis of this Bengali nationalism. So we didn't think of writing in other language in the beginning. But today, we have this realization that Bengali nationalism is not, or if we learn English, okay, learning English will not go against Bengali nationalism. But I've already said that today, the people of Bangladesh have this realization that English is not a foreign language. English is not a foreign language. We don't today consider English a foreign language. Rather, we today consider English the language of the world. As I've already said that Rajya Kanamin of India said that English has become very much like a devotee of goddess Saraswati. This English is not that British English that the people of India had been living 200 years back. Now the people of India are learning English, which is actually one of the many languages of India. Today, we are believing that English is not a foreign language or the language of the British, that it's a language of the world, and everybody should have a share to this language. Understanding this, we are learning English. So learning English is not going against our Bengali nationalism, but we feared 20 years back that learning English would go against our Bengali nationalism, which was the inspiration behind our liberation. So today we have this realization, and with this realization, we are expanding English learning opportunities in our country. We are establishing English medium schools. We have opened English version schools because we have to learn English. Because if we are not learning English, we will lag behind the world. Today, English is a kind of a key to the success. If we want to enter into the world, then we have to know English. understanding this, we are learning English. Another thing that you have said that jingoism. We Bangladeshi people are very liberal people, friendly people. We don't believe in that kind of nationalistic feelings. We don't have that. We love Bangladesh. We love other countries also. You have seen, if you read our literature written both in Bangla and in English, you will see how close Bangladesh is to your heart. We are very close to India. We are very close to Sri Lanka. We are very close to Nepal. We are very close to Pakistan. Our emotions have the same pattern. Our culture seems to be very close to, very similar to the culture of other South Asian countries. At the same time, we think that the European countries are also our friends. Okay, so if anybody or if any country has that kind of nationalistic feeling, we don't support that. We love everybody. We are friends of everybody. We love everybody's literature. We love every country, emotions, culture, religion of all nations of the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So another question. Can you elaborate and panoramic view of Bangladesh literature in a nutshell?
I have given the canvas of Bangladeshi literature in my lecture, how Bangladeshi English literature began and where Bangladeshi English literature is now staying, from the birth to the stage of development of Bangladeshi literature. I have talked in my lecture. I think if it is recorded, if anybody listens to my lecture here, and he will or she will have a very good idea of the panoramic picture of Bangladeshi English literature. Okay, I have already said that we are painting pictures of Bangladeshi culture in our literature. The pain, sorrows, sufferings, dreams, happiness, expectations of the people of Bangladesh are reflected in our Bangladeshi literature. At the beginning of my lecture, I told you that I believe that literature is a reflection of a society in an artistic form. And I also told you that I believe that literature is as much history as history itself is. If you read our literary pieces, you will have a beautiful picture of what the people of Bangladesh feel, think, dream. Okay, I told you the name of the author, Niro Chandra Chaudhary, his famous book, The Autobiography of an Unknown Indian. In this book, Niro Chandra Chaudhary even has painted the picture of how ants, red ants, climb up the trees. In this book, Niro Chandra Chaudhary has painted the picture of how village women in the rainy season come to fetch water from the river for cooking. In this book, Niro Chandra Chaudhary has painted the picture of how frogs in the rainy season keep sitting with their bodies under the water and the head of the water, how fishermen are catching fish in the river. A very beautiful picture of the culture of Bangladesh. Reading this book is very much like walking through Bangladesh and seeing what people of Bangladesh are doing. Almost all pieces of our literature will give you that kind of picture. That if you are reading a piece of Bangladeshi literature, English literature, you will feel that you are actually walking through different villages of Bangladesh, seeing with your own eyes what people are doing here.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. One more question. Do you have Dalit literature in Bangladeshi literature?
Valid? Sorry?
Dalit literature, sir.
Dalit literature, we
can you elaborate on it, sir?
We don't have so much Dalit literature in Bangladeshi English writing. Okay, even in Bangla literature, in Bengali literature, we don't have that much Dalit literature, because actually, you know, I have already said that why people write, when people think of writing. Okay, when people have a problem, when people have things to write about, people write. Bangladesh is a very beautiful country. I've already said that we live showing respect to all people. There are some indigenous people of our country, but they are not suppressed or feeling oppressed. Okay, and that's why nobody is writing about them. And we see that in the Dalit community, so many writers have not come out. There are some pieces, but I will not be able to give you the names of those pieces of literature that have been written. But the quantity of this literature is very, very little. We're very sorry for that. And we expect that in future, many writers will come from that community, will talk about their problems.
Sure, sir. Sir, there are a few questions from the participants on
Yes.
live chat. Shall I let them in, sir, for the live chat?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Dear participants, kindly unmute your mic and you can ask the queries.
Good evening, sir. I am Varun from First BA English Sacred Heart College. First, we are grateful to you and thank you for your splendid explanation, sir.
Thank you very
Sir,
much.
and my question is, Bangladesh is a religious country. Apart from a religious theme in Bangladesh English literature, what are the popular themes dealt in the works of Bangladesh English literature, whether it is accepted by the readers?
Thank you very much. It's a very good question. Sometimes literature
Thank you, sir.
gives us very partial picture. Okay, I'm writing a paper on Bangla literature. Okay, that means
Yes, sir.
I've said there the Bangla title is Sampradayikoday in literature. Okay, that means communalism in Bangla literature. I found literary pieces that were written in the past. Okay, I'm not giving us a very positively true picture of the culture of Bangladesh. In many of the pieces we found that they were promoting their religion indirectly. But in independent Bangladesh, I've already said that we are painting the picture of our culture, and religion is also part of our culture. In Bangladesh, if you come and visit, you will see here that all these people are living in peace and in harmony. In literary pieces, we are also. If you read a piece of literature of Bangladesh, you will see there are Muslims, Hindus, people of other religions here. We are not communal. We are a very secular country, and a secular picture of Bangladeshi culture has been reflected in most of the pieces of Bangladesh. No writer thinks of writing any such piece in which he will promote only his own religion, downgrading the religion of other people of Bangladesh, because we are all Bangladeshis. Okay, here we don't want to be divided into different groups on the basis of religion or ethnicity. All people living in Bangladesh are Bangladeshis. They have only one thing, that Bengali nationalism, and this is what we are writing in our literature. We show respect to all religions. If you are even if you are watching our cinema, that is films are also part of literature. You will see that in our films we have Muslims, Hindus, other people of other religions. Here they are living together, eating together, working together. Our Eid festival, if you find in any piece of literature, okay, for example, I've shown you, I told you about the piece, an autobiography of an unknown Indian written by Niro Chandra Chaudhary. He was born in Kishoreganj of Bangladesh. When he wrote Niro Chandra Chaudhary, Niro Chandra Chaudhary himself was a Hindu, but you will find in this book how people of Bangladesh are coming to Idgah field to say their prayer. Okay, a very beautiful picture of the religious congregation you will find in that book. In other pieces, you will also see that. We show respect, our writers show respect to all groups of people in their literary pieces. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Is there anybody?
Next one.
So, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I'm Janani, student of Sacred Heart College. I have a question, sir.
Yes, I welcome your question. Please tell me what you want to know from me.
Sir, not as a point of literature, but in general, what was a perception or how it was viewed by the common people during the re-emergence of English into Bangladesh when it's a monolingual country?
Yes, I've already said that Bangladesh is a monolingual country. In the beginning, okay, in the beginning, actually people did not have any negative attitude towards English writings in Bangladesh or Bangladeshi English writings. But we didn't write immediately after independence and immediately after the language movement, because I've already said that so many people laid down their lives for protecting our language. So if we are now going to write it English, people might criticize us, or we had a fear that we are doing a kind of injustice to the memory of these people, to the lives of these people who laid down to save their language. And that was the reason why we felt hesitant and reluctant to write in English. But today we don't have that attitude. I've already said that we have overcome that attitude. Today, English is not viewed in our country in the way it was viewed just 20 years back. 20 years back, English was a foreign language here, but 20 years later, English is now considered another language of the world. Okay, it is a common language of the world. We have understood that we have to learn it, and when we are learning it, we have learned to express our emotions in this language also. As we have learned to express our emotions here in this language also, we are writing. In Bangladesh today, if you are asking a student, I do that. I have tested. If you are asking even the students of class 2, 3, they write your mobile number. I'm sure that almost 100% of students will write their mobile number in English. If you ask them to write the name of their school's name, okay, in Bangla you have told them to write their school's name, you will see that they have written their school's name in English. So this is the mentality that the people of Bangladesh today have developed, because they are now believe that English is very much like. That means today we have two languages, we can say, Bangla language and English language. Learning English is not downgrading Bangla. We are learning English just to keep connected to the rest of the world. And we have mother language you do not need to learn. I tell you one thing, that one thing people do not need to work hard to learn. People automatically learn. That is language. One does not need to be intelligent to learn a language. And that's why you will see that even mad people who don't have any intelligence learn language. And you will see that they are speaking in a correct language. Okay, so as English learning scopes in Bangladesh have expanded, the government is also patronizing. We have also understood that we have to learn English, otherwise we will lag behind, will not be able to participate in the international activities. I've already said that in today's world, 80% communications are done in English. And English is now spoken by how many people in England are speaking English? But English is spoken mostly by the people of the other countries, other than England. So that is what we have developed towards English language. And today, we don't feel that learning English is actually downgrading Bangla. We are learning Bangla and English side by side.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, and I have another one question, sir. Shall I, sir?
Yeah. Yes.
Sir, how Bangladeshi literature is commonly united with Indian literature, sir?
Bangladeshi literature is?
Commonly united with Indian literature.
Bangladesh literature and Indian literature, I think, I don't find any difference between Bangladesh and India. Okay, I've already said that before 1947, Bangladesh was a part of India. The culture that Indian people have is the same culture that people of Bangladesh have. The attitudes of the people of India are also the attitudes of the people of Bangladesh. We teach here some Indian literary pieces. For example, we teach here Keanus Ahmed's The Guide. Have you heard the name of this title of this novel? Guide, The Guide, written by Keanus Ahmed. It's a famous novel written by Keanus Ahmed. All novels of Keanus Ahmed are famous. I've read his 15 novels and more than 50 short stories written by Keanus Ahmed. I've seen the relationship that exists in Roji and Raju's mother is the same relationship that we find here between my wife and my mother. Okay, the picture that we find in that novel is the same picture that we find in Bangladesh. So there is a good similarity between what we find in Bangladeshi literature and what we find in Indian literature. However, over the time, Bangladesh has become different. But how much Bangladesh has become different from India? If you come to Bangladesh, and you will see that Bangladesh is very much like India. Things, social, that means festivals, religious festivals, other things of Bangladesh are very much like what Indian people do. Still, we have some differences that I have already said, that when we are talking about our liberation war, when we are talking about the pain, sufferings, sorrows of the people of Bangladesh, these things have become different from the pain, sorrows, and sufferings of Indian people. Our dreams are now today different from the dreams of the people of Bangladesh. So, literary pieces written by young authors, okay, are becoming different from the literary pieces written by the authors of India, because dreams, emotions, expectations are shaped by many things, shaped by economy, okay, shaped by political situations, shaped by cultural situations. Bangladesh has now developed a different kind of economy. Bangladesh has now developed a different kind of political environment. So these things are resketching the map of our literature. So literary pieces written by the young authors are becoming, to some extent, different from the literary pieces written by the Indian authors. But if you go back just 30 years or 40 years, 50 years, you will see that our literature was, I've already said, that Niro Chaudhary's literary pieces were considered Indian literature. Okay, Begum Rokeya Shakawat Hossain, who was born in Rangpur of Bangladesh, was an author of Undivided Bengal. So she was sketching a society in her literary pieces that was Indian society. So there is a good similarity between what we find in literary pieces written by old authors and the literary pieces written by Indian authors. But in the new generation literary pieces, we find some differences, because we have our expectations, our dreams, our many things have become different from what Indian people have today. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your informative session, sir.
Good evening, sir. I have one last question. First of all, thank you so much for enlightening us in Bangladeshi literature. So, sir, you mentioned many diasporic writers and their success. Do their works in some way overshadow the contributions of native Bangladeshi writings in English?
Sorry?
Do their works in some way overshadow the contributions of native Bangladeshi writings in English, the writings of diasporic writers?
Will you please tell me the question, ask me the question again?
So you mentioned many diasporic writers and their success. Do their works in some way overshadow the contributions of native Bangladeshi writings in English?
Yes, I have understood. It's a very difficult question. Overshadowing, I'll not say, because everything stands on the foundation laid by the previous ones. Okay. Today, Bangladesh is standing on the foundation laid down by our predecessors. Your India was not as beautiful as it was. Sorry, your India 100 years back was not as beautiful as India has become today. It is the condition of all countries. So we cannot say that today's people are overshadowing the contributions of the past. Rather, we are standing on the foundation laid down by others. In terms of the quantity, I'll say that today we have a large number of authors that we didn't have in the past. Okay, and another thing is that diaspora writers. Okay, diaspora writers who are living in, especially in England, in America, in Australia. Okay, you know that they are in this country are learning how to express themselves in English very spontaneously. Although I have said that in Bangladesh we have expanded English learning opportunities, but still English is a foreign language here. Okay, English is a foreign language here. We learn English by learning grammatical rules. So all people who are learning English are not able to express themselves as comfortably as the diaspora writers can express. So they are writing brilliant pieces. And if you go to compare, then you have to say that they are, in fact, more powerful than what we are doing here, more powerful than the homegrown authors. Because the homegrown authors are writing mostly by learning English, by learning its grammatical rules. We cannot all the time translate our emotions into English language. Okay, when you are expressing yourself in the language of others, you cannot express yourself. For example, I cannot laugh in English in Bangladesh. I know good English, I can speak English, I have been speaking English all the time, but I cannot laugh in English. I cannot dream in English. I cannot feel in English. I cannot hate anybody in English. I cannot love anybody in English. I cannot imagine in English. I cannot feel in English. My feelings, my dreams, my imaginations, my expectations, all these things are translated into English, which is a foreign language to me. When I'm going to express my emotions, dreams, passions, which are the ingredients of literature, I face a kind of barrier. And that's why if I write something in English, that will not be perhaps as beautiful as the writing that is written by a diaspora Bangladeshi. Because Monica Ali was born in Sylhet when she was a little baby. Her family was migrated to England. So she was born up there, brought up there, educated there. She has been living there. So English is her mother tongue. She can express herself. She can open her mind in English. Tamima Aram, she was born in Bangladesh when she was a little baby. She went there and has been living there. So the way she can write, this spontaneously, that means the way she can write spontaneously, I cannot do. So that is why I think they are writing better pieces than what we are doing here to some extent. But if you say that overshadowing the native Bangladeshi, or if you say that they were overshadowing the native Bangladeshi writers of the past generation, I will not think in that way, because when Rokeya Shakaut Hossain was writing, okay, if you have read Sultana's Dream, Rokeya Shakaut Hossain wrote in an English. Rokeya Shakaut, I said, Begum Rokeya was not educated in any educational institute. She was self-educated. She was educated after marriage by her husband. Okay, her husband in secret taught her. And in her own home before marriage, she was taught in secret by her brother, because she was born in a very conservative family. Women at the time were not allowed to read books. She was born up in a time, but she has written Al Sultana's Dream in English that you will feel envious of. You will feel that it can be written only by one who is very much like native. Niro Chaudhary, he was an Indian, educated in this country, not educated in England. He went to England after the independence of some years after the independence of Bangladesh. But before going to England, Niro Chandra Chaudhary, who was educated in Bangladesh, was writing in a kind of English that surpassed the English even of the English authors. So I will say that no diaspora writer of Bangladesh has been able to surpass the English of Niro Chandra Chaudhary or the English of Begum Rokeya Sakhaut Hussain. In Bangladesh today, Said Manjur Islam is translating and writing in English. His English, okay, his English is obviously, I would say, in any standard, is better English. It cannot be surpassed by any author living abroad. Niyaz Jaman, I've already told you, Niyaz Jaman she's still living, retired professor of Bangladesh. She translated Lal Chalo into English, which is titled A Tree Without Roots. This English has as much beauty as the native English has. Okay, to some extent, they are overshadowing, but not always. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, participants, for your questions. Strive to find things to be thankful for and just look at the good in you, says Bethany Hamilton. Now, I would like to thank our resource person, Dr. Mohammed Mominuddin, for the thought-provoking session. Thank you, sir, for sharing your expertise on Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I again thank the authority of Sacred Heart College for inviting me. I'm feeling honored, and I'm very happy to have been able to speak before so many students, so many brilliant people. Okay, before you, before other persons related to this conference. I'm really happy being able to participate in this August conference. I'm lucky, and thank you once again. Everybody, I thank the father who talked in the beginning. I thank everybody. Thank you very much once again from my part. Maria.
Sir, indeed, it is a stimulating presentation, sir, where you have inspired the young minds to quest the Bengali literature. I thank all the participants for being attentive during this session. Thank you, dear participants. Once again, I express my sincere thanks to the resource person for his gracious presence amongst us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Now we shall begin the valedictory program.
David Henry Thoreau says, I took a walk in the woods and I came out taller than the trees. Similarly, I hope my fellow participants have taken a walk through this webinar and come out with enhanced knowledge. A cool and a breezy evening to one and all present here. I wholeheartedly welcome you all to this valedictory program of 2 days international conference on English literature from our frontier nations. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His love endures forever. Psalm 107, verse 1. To feel the goodness and mercy of God, let us begin the valedictory session with a prayer song. Now I invite Akhilan and his team for the prayer song.
Just one thing that I want to say. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for all you've given to me, for all the blessings that I cannot see. Thank you, Lord. name. Thank you, Lord. I just wanna thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. I just wanna thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for all you've done in my life. You took my darkness and gave me your light. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. You took my sin and my sin. You took my sickness and healed all my pain. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. With a grateful heart, with a song of praise, with an outstretched hand, I bless your name. Thank you, Lord. I just wanna thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. I just wanna thank you, Lord. Thank you,
Thank you, Akhil and his team, for the blissful performance. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is a progress. Working together is a success. And this 2 days webinar was indeed a success. I invite Ms. Kavishri of First BA English to welcome the gathering.
The soul should always stand ajar, ready to welcome the ecstatic experience, says Emily Dickinson. Splendid evening to one and all gathered here. I'm extremely overwhelmed to get this opportunity on this auspicious occasion. I'm Kavyashri from First BA English, here to welcome you all for this valedictory of 2-day International Web Conference on English Literature from Our Frontier Nations. I look around the stage and am in awe with the collected expertise gathered here. You show motherly love, give fatherly confidence, your endless care and support prove that you're a great leader. Yes, it's my pleasure to offer a heartfelt welcome to Reverend Dr. K.E. Maria Arokiraj, STB, Conference Chair, the Additional Principal, and the Head, Research and PG, Department of English, Secretariat College. Welcome, Father. I'm deeply honored to welcome the man of simplicity, Professor Arul Das, the Head Department of English, UT Shift 1, Secretariat College. Welcome, sir. I extend my genial welcome to Professor Mary Jenner, Conference Co-Chair, the Head Department of English, UT Shift 2, Secretariat College. Welcome, dear ma'am. The abbreviation of teacher is talented, elegant, awesome, charming, helpful, efficient, and receptive. Yes, it's my pleasure to welcome all the professors around the globe to this valedictory. The capacity of learning is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill. The willingness to learn is a choice. I convey my winsome welcome to all the participants from different countries and various colleges to this valedictory of 2-day International Web Conference. Better than 1,000 days of diligent study is 1 day with a great teacher. I'm glad to welcome all the organizing committee members and staff members of Secretariat College. Welcome, dear sirs and ma'ams. I offer a fraternal welcome to all the young hearts of the Department of English, Secretariat College. Once again, I welcome you all for this valedictory of 2-day International Web Conference on English Literature from Our Frontier Nations. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Kavishri, for welcoming the gathering with a warm and a happy heart. Great leadership usually starts with a willing heart, a positive attitude, and a desire to make a difference, says Mac Anderson. Today, we have one such person amidst us to give his valedictory address. I now heartily welcome Professor Arun Das, Head, Department of English, Shift 1, to deliver his valedictory address.
Respected and highly learned resource persons of the previous 6 sessions, Reverend Dr. K.A. Maria Arakiraj and Professor Mary Janip, the PhD and UG heads, Professor Peter Canisius Prabhu, the convener, esteemed colleagues, and the unrelenting participants who have been listening keenly to the past 6 sessions. A very pleasant evening to all of you. 2 most important events of any program for any participant are the welcome address and the valedictory address, for the simple reason that both the organizers as well as participants can heave a sigh of relief. The organizers could heave a sigh of relief for having successfully conducted the seminar or conference, and the participants can heave a sigh of relief that the program will come to an end so soon so that they could leave. Joke apart, a well-begun conference is coming to an end, certainly sowing the seeds to explore the literatures of and from the frontier countries, which has been relegated to the back seat so far, or which has remained unknown to most of us. The 2-day conference has enabled us to see the tip of the iceberg. Really, I feel it privileged and honored to deliver the valedictory address of this momentous WED conference, which has indeed motivated us to explore the English literature of the frontier countries. The web conference has opened our eyes to dive deep into the ocean of frontier countries to find the precious pearls of their literature or writing in English. The idea of literature from frontier countries or South Asian literature is not new. Our literature and the literature of the neighboring countries is perhaps older than the Western civilization. The Vedas, the Puranas, the mythologies, and the other folklores of the neighboring countries have been studied for centuries by the Western students. We are familiar with the Indian writing in English. The students of English literature have been introduced to the Indian writers like Rabindranath Tagore, R.K. Narayan, Raja Rao, Khushwant Singh, Salman Rushdie, Vikram Seth, Arundhati Roy, Kamala Markandeya, Kamala Das, Nissim Ezekiel, Thordet, and so on. The modern writers have moved away from the tradition enduring, self-sacrificing women towards conflicted female characters searching for identity. South Asian literature, or literatures from frontier countries, has become a new form of expression of the diaspora, be it within South Asia or outside of it. This literature is mainly about expressions of migration, gender bias, racism, and war. India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Nepal have historical, geographical, cultural, racial, and linguistic proximity. They have been the ex-colonies of the Britain. Their commonalities can be seen in culture and tradition, religion and philosophy, history and folklore, apart from their interconnecting geographical boundaries. From religious point of view, Hinduism, Islam, Buddhism, Christianity, and Sikhism are practiced in these countries. Consequently, oral traditions of literature, myths and legends, and even the creative writing today have several things in common, mainly due to geographical proximity. While considering the literature from Pakistan, 2 novelists come to my mind. They occupy the forefront. They are Ahmed Ali, the author of two great novels, Twilight in Delhi, written in 1940, and Ocean of Night, written in 1964, and Zulfikar Ghosh. His novels are Murder of Aziz Khan, which brought him close to Pakistan, though he never lived in Pakistan. He lives in Brazil, but still the Pakistanis claim him to be his writer. There are other writers, namely Bapsi Sidhwa, and his works are High Candy Man and the Crow Eaters, Tahira Naqvi, Tariq Ali, and Hanif Qureshi. Mohsin Ahmed from Pakistan wrote novels. The two most famous of him are Moth Smoke and the Reluctant Fundamentalist. Pakistan poetry is also thriving on the themes of partition trauma, alienation, loss of identity, and the exploitation of men under the patriarchal system. Bangladesh has a distinctive linguistic and literary identity. A while ago, our previous speaker waxed eloquence for a quite long time about the literature or the English writings in Bangladesh. The national poet of Bangladesh is Qazi Nazrul Islam. Notable writers from Bangladesh are Taslima Nazreen, Humayun Ahmed, Samsur Rahman, Dawood Haider, and Belal Chaudhary. The very thought of fiction or poetry of Nepal conjures up in mind an image of ethereal and invigorating mountain breeze of the Himalayas. Representative writer of Nepal is Manjushri Thapa. Her great novels are A Tutor of History and Forget Kathmandu, an elegy for democracy. Sri Lanka's cultural, historical, linguistic, and geographical proximity with India is too obvious to everyone. Next to India, among the South Asian countries, Sri Lanka has produced a rich corpus of fiction and poetry. The list of writers starts from Karl Muller, John Arasanayagam, Kamala Vijayarane, Primini Amarasinghe, Ashley Halpe, Tisha Rajiva Vijay Singhe, and James Gunaratna, to name a few. As I have mentioned in the beginning, the two-day web conference has enabled us to see the tip of the iceberg. If not, hasn't enabled us to explore it exhaustively. And as for my part, have seen or have touched upon the tiniest tip of the iceberg. I mean, the literature from frontier nations. To conclude, I would like to reiterate that literature will remain as such an important form of information and recording of experiences. Therefore, knowing its brief origin helps one to enhance the whole reading experience. Literature is a personal gateway to readers and non-avid readers too. One can either learn about their historical relevance or better comprehend the world around them. Therefore, let us continue to explore the English literature from our frontier nations to learn about each other country. I owe my immense gratitude to Reverend Dr. Maria Arakiraj and Professor Kanish Prabhu for this great opportunity. And I thank you all for your patient listening, wishing you all to continue to explore the frontier nations and their literature. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for the words of appreciation and for delivering the valedictory address. A dream doesn't become reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work, says Colin Powell. After 2 days of intellectual input sessions, we would like to present the report of the conference. Now, I request Professor Andrew Maria Yusufia to deliver the conference report.
Good evening to an all gathered here. It's my pleasant duty to present the report of this two-day international web conference on English literature from our frontier nations. The prime objective of this conference is to explore the writings in English of Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. It aims to understand and appreciate their culture, unique themes, commonalities, ethnicity, and the status of English in the regional scenario of our frontier nations. We inaugurated this conference yesterday at 9 a.m. Reverend Dr. Maria Arokiraj elaborated the dynamics of the program. Reverend Dr. John Alexander felicitated the gathering. Session 1 focused on Nepali literature in English. Professor Shishir Kumar Baru delivered his talk entitled Mapping of Nepali Literature in English. Professor Prabhakaran moderated this session deftly. In session 2, Professor Muhammad Azam elucidated the trends and traditions in Pakistani literature in English, which was well moderated by Professor Louis Sahaya Hinston. Professor Jeevanandan moderated the third session, in which Professor Dr. Amir Aziz focused on the perspective of Pakistani literature in English. The second day of this international web conference was started with the recap of day 1 by Dr. Helen Hema. Session 4 was well delivered by Professor Dr. Arjuna and Dr. Shishikala Asala, who highlighted the nuances of Sri Lankan literature in English. Professor Kamesh moderated this session elegantly. Professor Tiranirai skillfully moderated the fifth session, which was delivered by Professor Dr. Mani Ruzman on Bangladeshi literature, emergence, evolution, and expansion. The relay of these sessions came to an end with the vibrant talk of Professor Dr. Momin Uddin on Bangladeshi writings in English, its origin, challenges, and journey onwards, which was moderated by Dr. Maria Lini Jennifer. This academic venture is in its fag end with valedictory ceremony. Professor N. Aruldas delivered the valedictory address. It's a bliss to state that 795 participants have attended this web conference. We have participants from USA, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Saudi Arabia. We had participants from different states of India, namely Pondicherry, Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Odisha, Punjab, Bihar, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, and Maharashtra. We are fortunate enough to have 192 assistant professors, 70 research scholars, 500 students, 8 associate professors, 10 lecturers, 3 principals, and 12 teachers for this conference. The feedback and comments have proved that this 2-day international web conference is beneficial and a knowledge-gaining venture. Thus, we are very happy to extend our heartfelt gratitude to God the Almighty, to all the resource persons, the ardent participants, and the organizing chairs and members of this great success of this international web conference. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am, for delivering the conference report. Saying thank you is more than good manners. It is good spirituality. With a thankful heart, I now request Professor Peter Conitius Prabhu, the organizing secretary of the International Web Conference, to propose the vote of thanks.
A pleasant evening to one and all present here. This is a momentous day for me to render myself into the pleasurable task of thanking people who have brought laurels to the Department of English, Sacred Heart College, for successfully conducting a 2-day international web conference on literature from our frontier nation, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. At this juncture, let us be grateful to God the Almighty, who brought us together from various quarters during the conduct of the program, and always inspiring us to execute our endeavor in a feasible manner. We are profoundly grateful to Reverend Dr. John Alexander, the Rector and Secretary of our college, for being a moral support and felicitating the gathering. Thank you, Father. I want to extend my gratitude to our principal, Reverend Dr. Maria Anthony Raj, for being a great support and providing the facilities towards the conduct of the web conference. Thank you, Father. We were able to have a smooth sail in organizing the conference because of the credible, creative, and ever available leadership of Reverend Dr. Maria Arekaraj, the additional principal and head research and PG Department of English, for spearheading the conference. My thanks and my appreciation to your Father.
Words would fall short of describing how much knowledge we could derive from this conference and the important networks we could create with our honorable and eminent speakers of the conference. I feel incredibly honored and privileged to thank our speakers of all the sessions, starting from Professor Shishir Kumar Bhusal from Nepal, Professor Dr. Amir Azid, and Professor Mohammad Azam from Pakistan, Professor Dr. Arjuna Parakrama, and Professor Dr. Shashikala Asilla from Sri Lanka, Professor Dr. Maniruzman, Professor Dr. Mominuddin from Bangladesh. We are inspired by your great works. Thank you, sir and madam. At the outset, I would like to express our sentiments of gratitude to Professor N. Aruldas, Associate Professor and Head Department of English, Shift 1, for having given a valedictory address on this noble venture. Thank you, sir. With good able leader, one can surpass all the odd one. My deepest thanks to Professor Mani Janif, Head Department of English, UG, for being a constant supervisor and an indicator to make things attuned to it. Thank you, ma'am. I thank Professor Henston and his team for enabling us to feel divine presence all through the days through the prayer song. Thank you, sir, and my dear friends. I thank the program committee headed by Professor Dr. Helen Hema for planning and monitoring the minute details of the program. Thank you, ma'am, and my dear students. It was really a noteworthy. I'm indebted to thank the moderators of each session who shoulder the responsibility of introducing the resource person and facilitating discussion. Thank you, dear sirs and madams. A note of appreciation and thanks to the material committee headed by Professor Jeevanandan and his crew for aiding us in smooth conduct of the program. Thank you, sirs and my dear students. A big thanks goes to our post bearers headed by Professor Thirunurai and team who continue to post important information on the portal to keep everyone informed, which also help reach out to many people and get the words out there. Thank you, ma'am, and my dear students. Your work was much commendable one. My heartfelt thanks would not be enough to register the mammoth task undertaken by the technical team members headed by Professor Saravanan and his crew. I could see the proud faces and able to witness their efforts bearing fruit. Thank you, sir, and my dear students, friends, for your constant support and assistance. I would like to thank Professor Anto Maria Ezobia for presenting the detailed report of the conference. Thank you, ma'am. A special word of thanks to the student secretary, Ms. Srinath, and his crew for their involvement in working at the various capacity. Thank you, my dear students. It has been our tribute to host all the members and participants of this web conference. I'm thankful to all the participants from across the nation and overseas for joining us virtually and making this conference a memorable one. Thank you, dear participants. At this moment, it is fitting to express our gratitude to the members of Gesu Computer Center for providing us the technical support for this online venture. Thank you, sirs. Finally, I thank each and everyone who have made this conference a great success. I hope to continue to collaborate with you and organize such events in the future for the betterment and upliftment of the students' fraternity and also our own enrichment. Once again, thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for your words of gratitude. The knowledge you have gained so far will always guide you to a bright future. I wholeheartedly thank the participants for the enthusiastic participation. The feedback link is open now. Participants are requested to fill the attendance and feedback through Google Form. Kindly fill it. I repeat, participants are requested to fill the attendance and feedback through Google Forms. Kindly do fill it. Thank you, friends. Meet you all on another intellectual session. Thank you. Have a great evening.